based, based,
B1,
B, based, based, based,
B1,
based, based, based,
B1,
based, based, based,
B1,
based, based, based,
B1,
based, 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 based,
B1,
based.
Freedom to Transact by Ash Lightstone. The freedom to transact is the freedom to be. It means I don't need your permission to do as I please and just be me. It's a freedom that we should all have, without any conditions we have no say in. There shouldn't be any strings attached or any rhetoric about it being.
Okay, whoopsie. I mucked that up. I forgot that I was running that from Vercel there. Let me see if I can get the proper version up. Yes, welcome back. It's been an amazing week for Audionals. Anyway, it's been phenomenal, as you can see here. Oh no, you can't see there because I haven't faded across, have I? Because what we've got going on now on Chain is the first recursive music collection, which we launched on Gamma on Tuesday, and I was a little surprised at how quickly it went out the door. But I think maybe I shouldn't be surprised, because I do genuinely feel like I'm working on the most exciting thing in this space right now, something that reaches far beyond the walls of crypto into the real world, where there are real problems and these are the real solutions. But nonetheless, I was still not expecting it to walk out the door in an hour, just over an hour, was how long it took for Truth to sell, which was incredible. It's a small collection, and I tried to price it reasonably. It was about $15. And there's just 1,000 pieces, and those are all little pieces of history, because they really are a testament to this moment when art and technology, regarding music especially, came together. We've seen art and technology coming together over the last decade, really, with this tech, but music has been edged out until now, till we've come up with the right way to come at this. Come at it from a new way, build things. Start afresh, start a whole new library of sounds and music and plugins that exist in a new place, with new songs that are embodied with new powers. Just start again. that's kind of what we're doing here. But so it's been an amazing week. Truth, it launched, and then it just sort of started picking up speed. Started getting more and more responses to tweets, and I think people's eyes were open to it. But of course, it could only go on for so long because it ran out. But the next mint that we've got coming is Freedom, and this is what I was just trying to play, and I'll go back to in a second. But Freedom to Transact is the next thing that we've got coming, and that is going to be a free and open mint, really with the intent on trying to spread this, spread the word, the music, the noise as far afield as we can, so that people, particularly musicians who stand to benefit from this, get to become exposed to this technology, to the fact that I've spent 2 years trying to find solutions, and at least 18 months working towards democratizing the ordinal space to make it affordable, so that it's as welcoming to musicians as it is to all other art forms. So it's been really exciting. It's been just incredible, the amount of support and sort of acknowledgement that the project's had over the last week has been really amazing, and I just hope that we can pick up this momentum. I mean, it feels like it is picking up. I just want it to pick up without it feeling like I'm still pushing at the wheels. Like there are other musicians now coming in. There's other projects. There's some interesting collaborations that I'm involved in. So there's a lot going on. But I think once we get some of these really big artists, not even big artists, the big artist is going to be great because it's going to get lots of exposure. But I think what I'm really looking for is just some artists who are going to be able to just produce some songs that have that produced feel. It's not the same produced feel you might get from working in Logic or Ableton or the other platforms people are used to. It's just that produced sound you get when someone tinkers with something for a long time, and you can get that out of things like the audio sequencer as well. It's just a bunch of buttons and forward and reverse and pitch shift, and if you fiddle with it long enough, you get it. It'll start to sound amazing. Anyone who's been a musician who sits in a studio just pushing faders up and down, turning dials, setting things, plugging things in and out, it is just that's part of the art form, and you can hear it. The songs that I've been putting together so far with the sequencer have felt a little bit rushed because I'm trying to develop at the same time and then produce some music. Well, it is what I used to do, but doing it in a very short space of time. So I think once people really get into this and you start hearing songs that someone has put a week of work into, we're going to get some incredible music coming out this way. And each master costs, not even $5 at the moment for a master, and then 30 cents or something for a player to distribute it. So the opportunity is here. We just need some bit of creativity to kind of start the fire. So I guess I'll play Truth, and then I was going to show on here as well, because it took me a little while to get the metadata sorted, but when we did announce that it was on Magic Eden, it went really crazy. In fact, we were briefly, for a couple of hours, we were the number 3 selling collection on Magic Eden, which isn't something I never even imagined being in the top 100. And throughout the day we just watched it climb the charts. So it was amazing to watch, and you can see it had this run up, and now it's sort of plateaued. But the great thing is I know what's to come, which is possibly more than's ever come in the history of any other collection. So it's going to start with me doing another song, and then I've also got a very exciting song coming from ordinal based ones and based VTC. Got a very cool sort of appropriately timed track in the pipeline. I think it's actually ready to go, so I'm just waiting for sort of final word on that. And then of course freedom to transact. So these things are all going to be additions to what is really a historical moment for music on chain, just opening the doors. And it just starts with a couple of songs, but before you know it, there's 10 a day, and then there's 100 a day. Because the price is there, the price is good. We can now, people who are prolific writers can also enjoy this space. You don't have to sit there and think really carefully about what you're going to inscribe. If you build songs using this equipment, that's going to slowly get easier and more, more creative freedom and more sounds. But if you just get started now, you're going to start creating things that are embodied with all these powers of blockchain and don't cost you what it's going to cost if you create something in the real world and then try to bring it into this world. Just build it here from the beginning, from scratch. Learn again. That's the trick. Take on the take on the mindset of the pioneer, and just try stuff. That's kind of that's the vibe we're in right now. Said to some people before, embrace that. I'm from Brighton in the UK, and we have this is where Stomp came from. I've known some of the guys from Stomp for decades, so that was like another really exciting thing that came out of Brighton. But it's kind of it's that spirit that I think you need to kind of embody when you come in and you go into the audio sequencer. The blockchain is your oyster. You just got to go and find some audio. You can find any audio, anything you've heard that's on chain. You can go and search on Hero, search for audio inscriptions. It'll just list all of them. You can list them oldest to newest, all that sort of stuff. It'd be great if they would start listing things, allow us to list them by duration. That would be, I would have thought, quite a simple thing to add, because I find it quite annoying sometimes getting stuck in pages of very short sounds. But anyway, that would be really nice. But you can use any audio, so it's kind of that mentality is like pick something up and just start whacking it, and then start tweaking buttons and knobs until it sounds nice, until it's some sort of sound that you like, and then do it again. Grab something else, grab another scrap from the blockchain, bring it in, pitch shift it, reverse it, trim it down to a particular section where there's a nice sound, stick it in the sequence, just play, and things. It's just like any art form, the beauty starts to form out of the madness. So I think the more people that get into that, and this has been a big stepping stone to that, this first launch has been a big stepping stone to just getting that awareness of this technology that's bursting into life. And actually, for you people who are bearing witness to it, it's an opportunity that doesn't come along that often. Let's have a listen to Anyway to Truth, and I'll get that freedom working. Let's listen on Gamma. So that was Truth. That's the first single, I guess. The single before all singles. So that launched on Tuesday, and it was quite an epic night. Sold out very quickly. Sold for 0.00025 BTC, which was, I think it was around $15. Then there was the fees on top of that, but that's now selling really for more than double that. In fact, one sold yesterday for 10 times that. Sold for 0.029. It was a rare one. It's another interesting thing about this collection is that there's rarity built into it. Here's the deck I think that I was sending out to people. There is actual in the visualizer. There is 10 levels of rarity, and those levels of rarity point to different color settings arrays. There are 7 color settings arrays. Number 7 is only used by one of them or 2 of them, the 10 and 9, and down to 1. I think you'll have to look at the Discord to see what all the levels are, but there's 10 different levels. The percentages and the counts are all there, and so it was a level 9 that sold yesterday at 10 times that. It was more than 10 times that, 10 times the mint price. So it's really exciting, and it's going to be even more exciting when we start paying out the royalties. There's some royalties that need to be distributed among the sample holders for that song. For every song that I'm putting out, there's going to be a 20% of what I receive is going to then be redistributed through all the assets that I've used. Some of them could be my own. I can inscribe my own sounds. I can use my own sounds. But if I use someone else's sound, or if I use my own sound, whatever, it doesn't matter. That 20% is just going to be divided up between all the sounds and all the visuals that appear, during that song, that are part of putting that song together. Everything that's involved in its programmatic assembly, so that includes all the samples and then any visuals, any other inscriptions that are used as part of the visuals process. They all just become part of that royalty structure and can earn their own royalties, which is, it's groundbreaking, but it's also extremely efficient, and it's one of the many solutions that this space has to offer the music industry as a whole. Let me see if I've got freedom to transact here now. I think I have there. So this is going to be the next single, and like I said, it's going to be a free mint, and it's going to be an open mint. So the idea is that anyone who missed out on the initial mint will get a chance, an opportunity for freedom, and it should hopefully just bring us a really big audience of people, including musicians, not just users or consumers, but we need the creatives and the developers, people who realize that when I say elements used in a song, I mean all elements used in a song. If you build a compressor that kicks ass and you've inscribed it, and I can use it to make my mix sound better, you're in. You're part of that royalty structure. You build a synthesizer that I use in my song. No matter how much or little I use it, if I just use it for one sound at the intro, doesn't matter. Attribution is guaranteed in this space, and I'm just paying based on attribution. I'm not going to dive into the fine details of how much something was used or how important it was in the song. Was it the hook? If it's in there, you get attribution and you get share of that 20%. And that in itself is hugely exciting. Not only do you have that resolution to say, I'm going to pay you per second that you're used in the song, I'm going to pay you per kick drum. If you're the kick drum sample holder, I'm going to pay you X amount per kick drum. That could happen. That could be done. Don't need to do that right now. But like I said, what's really exciting is it's like whatever the element, if it's just a really simple thing like a graphic EQ, if it works and a musician wants to use it, if it makes it sound better, I'm going to use it. Doesn't really make a difference to me where my 20% goes. My 20% goes anyway, but it means this really efficient system is able to clearly and transparently, and most importantly efficiently, transfer the money to the people who should get it, and it doesn't have to go through 1,500 hands to get there. So this is freedom to transact.
Freedom to Transact by Ash Lightstone. The freedom to transact is the freedom to be. It means I don't need your permission to do as I please and just be me. It's a freedom that we should all have, without any conditions we have no say in. There shouldn't be any strings attached, or any rhetoric about it being a sin. It's a freedom that allows us all to be equal, in a manner that is profoundly meaningful, and for that reason they tell us it's dangerous. They say there's no way for it to be purposeful. When others don't want us to have this freedom, we have to stop and ask why. We have to ultimately see that it's about control, and that their so-called protection is a lie.
Oh dear, you know what? I said to myself before I did this, I said, don't do the live streaming, just record it, because when I'm streaming my little laptop, I'm doing everything on my laptop, it really cannot handle doing both streaming and playing these files. So I might have to just leave that one for now. But it's an amazing song. Let's have a look at the where you can have a look at it yourself. Find out what the number is. That's the number there, so you can go and have a play of this yourself. Have a listen to Freedom. This is like the sort of just the initial test inscription, if you will. It's not going to be part of the collection. The collection will be slightly, well, it's also got this slightly annoying glitch at the beginning where it freezes, so I'm going to kind of fix that. But yeah, go and have a listen, and it's I think it sort of speaks volumes about the ethos that I think we've all supported by being part of this movement in crypto. So it feels good to do something that we can do, you know, as a free mint, as an open mint, and just as a megaphone to broadcast, which should, you know, that music coming into this space, that is like a tide, and that will raise all ships. Because with musicians and music lovers, I mean, it's most of the population of the planet. So, you know, we've got to keep moving forwards with this. I was going to play this. This might work. Let me just close those things down, because this might still work if I get everything else shut off. Yes. So actually, to get onto that, I've been speaking with Rare Skrilla, and we've been talking about something I brought up a few months ago about doing some kind of a remix competition or something, you know, where we get a bunch of original sort of Skrilla hits from the early chain, some nice samples. We've got access to the OB1s, any new samples that get inscribed, you know, like the sort of high resolution WAV files that can then be combined with the older, lower resolution songs. You can get some amazing sounds doing it that way. So that's going to be really exciting. But in fact, while I was talking to him, he played me some of the music that he's been inscribing lately, and it's weird because one of them was for anyone who maybe listened to the Minty Fresh Vibes, was a Rug Radio was on there last week, and I spoke to spoke to the host about getting some samples and giving them to me so we could try and remix them on the show. And he came back with about 5 samples, and it was it was funny, the ones that he brought back, because one of them, I just loved it instantly. I was like, this is like the lead. And of course that was something that I heard when I was talking to Skrilla the other day. Played one of them, and I was like, I was thinking, oh, I know this. I don't think I even mentioned it at the time, but I was like, oh, this is great. And then later I went back and listened to this. I was like, oh, that's the sample that I used. And then it also was one of the Obi-Wan samples that someone who's been working with the Obi-Wans, Mew, who she's been recording some cool vocals. You've probably heard, you heard Based at the beginning. That's Mew's vocals there in Based, saying Based. But she also recorded a rap about DMT, and that also showed up in the Rug Radio selection. And so I was just going to play that song that has kind of come out of those initial samples that he gave me. One thing that was interesting is he picked samples that he liked, and most of them were they had a beat, but they were all different tempos and different keys, which, as anyone who's a musician knows, that's takes a bit of work. It's easy enough to do in Logic, using your time stretching and compression and pitch shifting and all this sort of stuff. Not nearly as easy in this environment to kind of get things to sync up without cutting them into pieces or radically altering them in some way. And so there was quite a lot of radical alterations going on here when I was like, how do I actually incorporate these two musical pieces that are in different keys and different tempos that don't match up in either way? And I ended up speeding some of them up, and other ones I trimmed, so I just grabbed a small section. But have a listen. It's not like my usual stuff, partly because I just loved the first bit, which I found out was Skrilla. But I do manage to shoehorn it back into a rave. I can't really help myself, but there you go. Hopefully this will work now. Yeah, that's looping now, but that's lovely and fun. Bit of a rave there in the middle. I think I said a couple of weeks ago, this isn't. Some of these aren't. They're not necessarily songs. I mean, that's 11 and a half minutes or something. It's like melodic art, I guess, is what I'm thinking of it as. It's technology, music coming together in an art form. But that's the full length of the current sequencer. But yeah, like the 11 and a half minutes. But I was thinking, like, the music is so stable in there, I probably can actually play you Freedom. But you think that's 3 kilobytes to inscribe when I want to inscribe that, and I've got like at least 20 songs in the background that are not mine. I'm not playing them because they're not mine. They're songs people have been working on and sending to me. Some of them are done, and the players are kind of being built, and they're going to be launched on Gamma soon. But lots of them are just in production. Some of them are collaborations. It's another really neat thing about this is when you save these files, the full size file when you save it on the sequencer prior to the process for inscribing it is around 120 kilobytes. But so it's still a very small file for sending via email or Discord or whatever. So collaboration is really good fun. I'd like to see people doing more of that. Like you just save a JSON, send it to your friend. When they open it, it opens exactly as it opened for you because it's just using on-chain assets. When you're using the sequencer, despite the sequencer not being an on-chain device, everything that's going on in it is exactly replicating what happens on chain, and it's using the on-chain assets. So it's really, really quick as well. There's no packaging things up, sending plugins. As plugins become available on chain, they're available to everybody. So when you send someone one of these files, I don't have to add anything to the files. Those plugins will just be available to other people if they've been used. So it's really cool, and it'd be really cool if there were people in the Discord. Maybe we should do it sometime. Do like a live remix session where we sort of have a bunch of people who are just taking the file, handing it from one person to the next, and sort of adding a sequence or just adding their touches until it's ready to inscribe, and at the end of it do like a mega sort of 3 or 4 hour stream, and at the end of it we just inscribe whatever we've got in our hands. Like I said, I realized just then that the playing music is really simple. I've really pushed the boat out with the first collections. I wanted them to be, certainly that first collection. It's probably the only thing I really think of as a true collectible in all of this, because it marks a Genesis moment. But I wanted those ones to be special. I'll probably do an album of those, but it just shows how hard everything's working when the visualizer is in. That visualizer, will never create two sets of visuals the same. It's like a live music video that's live playing to your instruments. It's got a set of color settings arrays that it can access based on its level. That's the sort of rarity that's built into the collection. And then they've got that amazing mode that they switch into after X number of loops. If you have like a level 9 or 10, they actually just start already with this mode on. But if you have a level 8 or 7 and 6, I think, they'll come on after the first loop. I think the level 1s have to wait 5 loops. But it's really fun. You just put it on in the background, mute it, just leave it on, and then when you come back to it a bit later on, it'll be in trippy mode, and then you can use the hidden P key to get your PFPs kind of thing. They let me show you some of these. I did queue some of these up, see if this will work. Yeah, so once you go into the trippy mode, this is where the collection icon came from. Is once you get into trippy mode, there's this little like just a hidden feature. When you press the P key, it will capture that moment and output it as a JPEG, which look just like these. You can only do it once every 30 seconds, I think. But it's super cool to be able to kind of create from your own works. You can have it, if there's a particular moment you want to get, you can capture it as a kind of neat kind of PFP style image. And actually what we've done in here as well is I'm just wondering how I can zoom in here, but the bottom right hand corner is where all of that data is actually held. Oh, what have I done there? No, that wasn't what I meant to do. All of the embedded data in that bottom corner, you can see some of it coming up in there, in that bottom corner there, I think. Anyway, I can't figure out the zoom on this thing, but all the embedded data is there, so it's saying what channels are attached to which color settings arrays, and then which actual color settings are each channel accessing in there. And then it gives a timeline as well, so it means we can then programmatically recreate these PFPs without ever inscribing an image. We'll be able to just call the playback engine, the visualizer engine, and then input these details, simulate the process, and actually output what looks like just a still image of actually very high resolution. So it allows people to sort of capture their favorite moments and then make that their PFP. I thought that was just a neat little feature to add. So that's what some of those look like. But I can see it's almost coming to the end of the hour. Of these songs are pretty epic. I've been playing. It's actually really nice to think I've now got enough music that I can basically play a full hour without having to wang on throughout. But it'll be even better once I've got other people's music to play. So onwards and upwards. Let me play you Freedom just from the sequencer, just so you can hear it, because it's a cool thing to listen to as well, even if you're not seeing the amazing visuals at the same time. So all I've got to do is find the JSON. There we go, freedom to transact. Okay, that's how easy it is to load. If I save, just saves a file. And someone send the file to someone, all they got to do is hit load, find that file, load it, they've got the song. Easy as that. No checking whether they've got the right version, or they've got the right plugins, or an update, or the right OS. It'll just work. Freedom.
Freedom to Transact by Ash Lightstone. The freedom to transact is the freedom to be. It means I don't need your permission to do as I please and just be me. It's a freedom that we should all have. Without any conditions we have no say in. There shouldn't be any strings attached or any rhetoric about it being a sin. It's a freedom that allows us all to be equal in a manner that is profoundly meaningful. And for that reason they tell us it's dangerous. They say there's no way for it to be purposeful. When others don't want us to have this freedom, we have to stop and ask why. We have to ultimately see that it's about control, and that their so-called protection is a lie. This is the ultimate freedom, the most significant one. All others are built on top of this, and without this, no other freedoms can be won. Freedom to transact. 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 Freedom to transact by Ash Lightstone. Freedom to transact by Ash Lightstone. Freedom to transact. Freedom to transact. To transact, freedoms 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 to tran By Ash Lightstone. After the midst, maybe shit. Yes, and back in the shit and finish on I hold sheep and believe for stick. He meets such a see, smells so just. Shame before you need without need. He is believe for this. I don't just believe for by Ash Lightstone. By Ash Lightstone. By Ash Lightstone. By Ash Lightstone. Freedom to transact.